Good morning. Warning that a long and costly war still lies ahead, President Bush last night said that Americans must prepare for setbacks and sacrifices to come. As he assessed the first week of fighting, Mr. Bush claimed that Operation Desert Storm was running right on schedule, but added that the United States and its allies were still a long way from victory today, Thursday, January the 24th, 1991.
From NBC News, this is a special edition of Today, America at War.
Back at 7:30 on a Thursday morning, along with Deborah Norville, I'm Brian Gumbel. We are 1 week into Operation Desert Storm, and as we start this 8th day of the operation, there are reports this morning coming from the BBC that Iraqi warplanes have attacked Allied naval vessels in the Persian Gulf. But it also indicates that those warplanes were shot down by U.S. fighters. Deborah has the latest developments on that story and other news.
Indeed we do, Brian. The BBC is in fact reporting that Iraqi warplanes attacked Allied Navy vessels in the Persian Gulf this morning, but that those jets were shot down by U.S. fighters. The report came from a BBC correspondent on board a British ship in the Gulf. The correspondent said that the 2 Iraqi planes were presumably armed with Exocet missiles. Our man in Saudi Arabia is George Lewis, and he's with us live this morning to tell us what he can add to this story. George, what's the military folks saying to you?
Deborah, we haven't had any reaction from the military folks as yet, but I think when the U.S. Navy does speak up about this, they'll say that this was sort of a kamikaze mission, perhaps showing the desperation of Saddam Hussein, because the U.S. Navy claims that its anti-air electronic network, its electronic shield around that fleet is pretty extensive, and the U.S. Navy contends that it's going to be very hard for Iraq to penetrate that electronic shield. As you said earlier, the Iraqi planes reportedly were equipped with Exocet missiles. You might remember that in the late 80s, when the U.S. was escorting Kuwaiti tankers under U.S. flags, an Exocet fired by Iraq hit the USS Stark, causing numerous deaths. Iraq later said that was an accident and paid reparations to the United States. Obviously, this attack was deliberate and, according to the British reports, unsuccessful. Deborah?
George, does this mean that perhaps the war is moving to the naval front as well as the air front?
Well, this is the first major naval engagement of this war. Thus far, the biggest threat to the fleet out there has been mines that they've seen and detonated. This is the first Iraqi air attack on the fleet, and we don't know if it'll be the last, but the U.S. Navy contends its defenses are pretty strong and that they can repel most of what Iraq has.
Well, they evidently repelled these 2, so keep us posted on anything else you hear. George Lewis in Saudi Arabia, thanks.